Hello Internet, my name is James and I'm here to talk to you about IT. So today I thought I'd take a moment and talk about what is the cloud. And honestly, it's a pretty good question to ask because there's so many people that cloud means different things. Marketers have taken that terminology and really butchered it. So what actually is the cloud? Well, thankfully, our good friends over at NIST provided us with a nice definition. Document 800-145, which is probably one of the shortest NIST documents ever written by them. If you scroll down just a little bit into section 2 here, you're going to find 5 main categories of what makes a cloud cloud. First is on demand. In other words, you can pull up the services that you need whenever you need it, and you don't have to engage someone else to make those services available. Second is broad network access. That means it has capacity to be connected in multiple locations, versus on-prem, which is you're just going to have your primary internet, maybe a backup internet. But what this broad network access means is you have areas across the world, across the country, large geographic areas where you can have multiple methods in and out of your services. Again, resource pooling. This allows you to take all those resources that you assign and have them work together, have them work for failover, redundancy, things like that. Rapid elasticity, it's the flexibility of the cloud. And that is that you can expand and contract services based on your usage and your needs. And then lastly, it's a measured service. In other words, you know what you're running, where you're running it, when you're running it, and have the ability to see what's happening in real time of your entire infrastructure. So that's what really makes the cloud the cloud. That's the actual definition. Now, to expand on this definition, they provide here 3 different types of service models. The first is software as a service. This you're probably most familiar with when it comes to things like YouTube or Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, things like that. That's software as a service. Those are tools that are provided to you. You don't have to worry about keeping them updated. You don't have to worry about, do you have enough resources to make sure you have enough CPU and memory to run that. They handle all those things. Then you have platform as a service. This is for your developers, where they can take their programs that they've built and they don't have to worry about operating systems and things like that. They set it up out there and the cloud gives them the computing resources they need to run their programs. And then finally, we have infrastructure as a service. Now, this is the closest you can get to on-prem when it means you're actually spinning up virtual machines. So you're responsible for things like patching the operating system, installing programs, removing programs, making sure your antivirus is running, and security, all those things are involved. So, but just to add on to that, what makes cloud really, really unique? Yes, I can buy services, I can expand and contract them and stuff, but what makes it really unique versus on-prem? Well, I love this map I want to show you. So what this is datacenters.microsoft.com. So this is a global map of all the Azure resources across the globe. All these dots are Azure regions. Like you have UK West, Dublin. Here in the United States, you have East US 2. You have South Central US down here in Texas, West Central US up here. God, I want to be up in West Central US. That is a beautiful view. But it gives you an idea of you can place your services in any of these data centers all around the world. They even have locations on satellites here. You see these satellites moving about down here and up here. There is Azure in space. They even have some up in Alaska and things. So you can put things wherever you want them in the world. And the nice part about it is unlike on-prem, where you have to drive there and rack your equipment, or you have to worry about, okay, a drive went out, now I need to drive over and handle this. No, you don't have any of that. You have users over here in New York and then you have staff up here in Seattle, and maybe you have a few remote employees down here in Dallas, well, now you can put your services clear across the United States in a matter of that, and be able to have those resources available for your employees, your staff members, your users. So with that flexibility and the ability to put your resources closest to who's using them, that is the true unique power of the cloud that makes it really, really cool. So now let's expand on that for a second. One thing that people get scared about with cloud is cost, right? Yeah, cloud's great and it's supposed to be cheaper, but it's really not. I hear that a lot. And they're not wrong. You know, a restaurant is always going to cost you more than cooking at home. If you eat at home, it's a lot more work. But that's the biggest difference. And that is, it depends. On-prem, there are scenarios where on-prem is a whole lot cheaper than the cloud. Like if you have a ton of storage needs, on-prem can usually be a lot cheaper versus the cloud. Likewise, the cloud can be a lot cheaper too. Let's say you have certain resources that you need available. Well, instead of having to rent out locations and fly employees out and put them in that data center where it's closer, it's a whole lot easier just to spin them up and be done. You're paying for a service. You are literally paying for a utility. You have to think of the cloud as a utility. With that in mind, the way you architecture for on-prem is completely opposite than the way you architecture for the cloud. On-prem, you overbuy to cover you for the good life expectancy of that server, whether your life expectancy is 4 to 5 years. You know, typical for server life is about 4. Some I know go a lot longer than that, but 4 is usually a pretty good number. But within that 4-year time frame, you want to make sure that you have enough storage to handle the load. You want to make sure you have enough CPU and memory so you don't have to upgrade them or replace them a year or two down the road. If you have it undersized, you're in trouble. Likewise, you don't want to way oversize it and not be able to use enough, because now you're way overspending. It gets expensive real quick. Well, the cloud is the exact opposite. Because it's a utility, you're only being billed for what you use. Therefore, instead of getting a big system with plenty of memory and plenty of CPU, you scale that back. You scale it way down. Now, you only want a server that's going to do its job, and you want that CPU sitting at around 80% utilization as much as possible, because you know you're getting closer. You want that memory, at a good 70% utilization, because now you know you're not putting in too much. It depends on the workload. I'm using some funny numbers here, but you get the idea. You want to make sure you're using the resources that you're paying for, because if you have too much, you're overpaying. Likewise, let's take a look. Every cloud provider, and we're picking on Azure still, every cloud provider has one of these pricing calculators. And if you go to azure.microsoft.com and just go to the pricing calculator here, let's just pick on a virtual machine. We'll look at infrastructure as a service for a moment, because this is a good example of your costs. So as this loads up, we have a D2 PC. So this is 2 CPUs, 8 gigs of RAM. Great. Well, at first look, $137 a month sounds ridiculous for this. And quite frankly, $137 a month is absolutely ridiculous for this. But that's based on 730 hours. Remember, think of this as like water or electricity. You turn it on, you're being billed. You turn it off, you're not being charged for it. So let's say you have a workload that you only need on 10 hours a week. Well, in 4 weeks, you're only running it for 40 hours. Now that same one is costing you $7.52 a month. Likewise, let's say you already have a Windows license and you can take advantage of the hybrid benefit here. Now you're at $3.84. And note this too. Let's go back to that monthly view. This is a great way for saving money with Azure. Is out of that $137, 67 of it is for the Windows license, which to me is insane, because your Windows license on average costs you about $20 a month if you put that out across the years. So you can actually take advantage, if you already own a license, you can take advantage of this hybrid benefit and cut that price way down. Now there's some server types that it's actually a whole lot cheaper to pay for the license included. So you have to watch this number. You look at it. If it's over 20, it's cheaper for you to take advantage of the hybrid benefit. But just know that that's here. And you can actually, like on-prem, you can reserve instances too and get a huge discount on it. So again, let's say we have a hybrid benefit that we're taking advantage of. We want this server running 24/7 for 3 years. Well, now you're only at $26 a month. That makes this server so much cheaper. It's a huge price difference, cost savings. But note this. Let's say your scenario is you want to run a home lab. Well, you can spend $500 and buy a server, and then spend a few $100 more on storage for it and things like that, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. But let's say you plan on doing that. Let's go back to that 10 hours a week type deal for 40 hours. Well, this is a whole lot easier on your wallet than building that home lab at home. Not as much fun, mind you, in many ways, because hey, hardware is always fun. But knowing that you can spin up services and then when you're done, spin them back down. And the best part is you can automate all of this with the cloud, not just in Azure. All of them allow you the flexibility of spinning up and spinning down services as needed. We're going to be getting into a lot more videos on the cloud, how to use it, how to take advantage of it, scenarios where the cloud makes sense, scenarios where the cloud does not make sense and on-prem is a better fit, and several other scenarios. We're going to have fun with this. So I hope you'll join me on my journey, and please remember to like and subscribe on the video, comment below, put in your own 2 cents, what you think the cloud versus on-prem, what you prefer, and we'll see you next time.